Okay, first of all, welcome everybody to the best meme out there, Kwirk, heading out 99 RMS. So, I guess without further ado, shall we do a countdown together? I don't think we've actually done that yet. Okay, starting in 3, 2, 1, go! So welcome everybody, this is Kwirk, and in Kwirk we're playing this little tomato guy, and he's in the sewers, in the mazes behind the city, and well, he's lost his girlfriend, Tammy Tomato, who's somewhere out there apparently. We don't really know where she is, and we're gonna solve a bunch of puzzles in order to find her. This category consists out of 99 different puzzles that we need to solve over the course of this run. As you can see, all of them are pretty short. They're all fairly straightforward little puzzles, although some of them can be somewhat tricky and somewhat tight in the movement. Now, the interesting part about this run is actually not just the fact that we have these puzzles that we need to do, but more the amount of puzzles this game actually has. The maximum amount of puzzles you can do in total is 99 in a single sitting, but there is only like 30 different puzzles in the game. So you can probably see where that's going. Remember these puzzles, because they'll be showing up a little bit later again. Now, this category kind of became a thing due to a good friend of mine, and I want to give him a quick shout out, Mr. Mean Mustache, who was looking for a bit of a meme run that he could do, that he could make a leaderboard and all that. And thus he found Kwirk, and we were like, oh, this actually looks really easy, this looks really cool to do. So, you know, we decided I might want to give it a go, and you know, from there it just kind of grew into the meme that it nowadays is. We've got a couple different categories going. We have the 10 RMS, which is basically this, but then just 10 puzzles, which is currently at I believe like a 128 or something. It's a really short category. We've got 99 RMS, which is 99 different puzzles, all random order, all, you know, just basically, you know, puzzling through 99 of these little things. And then there's a different mode that we also speedrun, the going up categories, which is completely set puzzles. That's kind of unfortunate. This puzzle is kind of tricky. But that set is like 30 different puzzles, 10 for easy, 10 for medium, 10 for hard. You kind of just have to try and solve them as quickly as you can. Now, that seems really easy at first, and the first 10 are really easy. World record for that is already under 2 minutes. However, once you start getting to the medium and hard puzzles, like some of those puzzles are well over a minute, like close to a minute or well over a minute long, with, you know, one movement mistake in that full minute, meaning it's basically rip run. So they can be very, very tricky categories to do. And as such, you know, outside of the easy one, not many of them have actually been run. It has been tasked, and it's basically, like, even a task is like 16 minutes long, so it's basically 16 minutes of perfect movement. Can't really afford a single mistake, so it's really tricky to do that. 99 RMS is currently at like 16.5 minute or something, 16:23 right now, so that is very beatable, and it wouldn't surprise me if we actually would manage to beat it today. Unfortunately, I did already have to reset one puzzle, but we'll see what the game is going to give me outside of that. And yeah, that's, in a nutshell, basically Kwirk. We're just a little tomato solving really small little puzzles. This puzzle right here is actually the shortest puzzle, but it's also one of the easiest to mess up because of how your movement works. Basically, every single time you're in one of those turning blocks, as soon as you turn the thing, you turn with it, basically doubling your movement. So you get a very rapid change in velocity, and for some levels that's really easy and really useful. And for some levels that will actually make it really, really difficult. Then there's these moving blocks, which, you know, they're just what they look like. They move, but you can't actually push them back, so you need to be careful how you move. And that's also where some of these levels can be somewhat tricky. For example, that big block right there, had I moved it one to the left, I would have just had to reset the puzzle. Couldn't have beaten it anymore. So a lot of that is just optimizing how you move and trying to go through these puzzles as quickly as you can. Let's see, this is another one of those somewhat more tricky levels. You will notice that some of the levels can actually be inversed as well. You know, being only a pool of about 30 different puzzles, the creators were kind of smart in that they decided, okay, well, what if we inverse the puzzles and they're upside down? That'll make them different, right? There are a few puzzles where that can actually really mess you up because, you know, the muscle memory just kicking in and you end up going a slower route. For most of the puzzles, though, it's not really all that noticeable. This one, for example, really easy little puzzle. So yeah, that's the first 30 or so puzzles already done, so far on a good pace. We've already seen this one before, so this is about one of the first repeats we're going to get. That one actually has one of the closest bits of movement out there. It's one of those puzzles that I just had to practice for like half an hour straight, just in order to be able to properly get that, but you know, you can see that it pays off. You can reset each of the puzzles just by pressing the A button. It's really, really quick. Of course, in a speedrun, ideally we don't want to do that. The current world record on 99 RMS has one reset in it, which is kind of to be expected considering, you know, it's 16 minutes of doing these little puzzles, and it's really easy to mess some of them up. Considering, you know, I have already made one mistake this run, this one is not going to be an exception to that. So let's see how we're gonna do. We'll have the first real count on the timer at around like 49 RMS left. That's about the halfway mark. If we meet that under 8 minutes and 10 seconds, we're basically on a world record pace. Which, I mean, I was practicing this earlier in the practice room, and I actually ended up being ahead of world record. And then immediately after the puzzle that I actually said that I was on world record pace, I messed it up completely. So hopefully it won't be all that bad. I'm kind of fortunate in that I haven't actually seen the longest puzzle of the game yet, which, considering we're already this far in, is kind of surprising. Usually you'll have seen it at least once or so. So, so far so good, really. Okay, let's move these blocks out of the way. This one is a little closer sometimes, but it's fairly straightforward. Every one of these puzzles is anywhere between 5 and 9 seconds long. Plus about like a second and a half worth of loading into the next room, so, you know, anywhere between like 6 and 10 seconds a puzzle is generally what you need to account for. This is the longest puzzle of the game, and also my least favorite one as such. It's quite easy to mess it up. There's a lot of weird turns that you need to make here and there. It went fairly well this time around, so at least we got that one out of the way. We can just keep moving on. The one I messed up earlier, this is one of the fastest if you do it properly. But you can see how, you know, if you push one block too far to the left, it's an instant reset, and there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, we're almost already at the halfway point. Like I said, 8:10 is the time to look for. If I hit 49 at 8 minutes and 10 seconds, in-game time, by the way, because this game does use in-game time rather than RTA. It's pretty much exactly the same, except there's an exactly 10-second difference between the two, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But if it's at 8:10 by the end of like 40, or by the end of puzzle 50, that means we're on a very solid pace. So let's see how far we can get. Okay, 30 seconds for like 3 puzzles should be doable, especially considering how short this one is. We actually got it perfectly this time, so good start. This one looks really easy. It actually gave me a lot of trouble at the start, but this is just how you do it. That's all there is to it. You just turn every single one of them once. And I can fairly safely say that, you know, the first half is world record pace. So who knows? We might be seeing the first ESA Germany world record right here. Not sure if it'll happen. We still have about half of the run to go, but that's definitely a solid start, and I'm happy with how this first half went. Other than that, I mean, Kwirk, there's really not much to say about this game. It's just that simple, really. Come again?
How does it feel to be a tomato?
It feels great to be a tomato, you know? I mean, a tomato walking through the sewers, I'm not sure if the audience, by the way, was able to hear that, but he asked how it feels to be a tomato, and you know, just being a tomato solving puzzles, it's a great life, right? Okay, so far so good. Now, for 99 RMS specifically, there's really only 2 runners for this at the moment. 10 RMS has been run quite a lot. There's like 4 or 5 people that run that category, but 99 being a bit longer, there's not a lot of runners on there. So, you know, if you ever want to try out Kwirk, it's a really easy game to get into. With there only being about 30 different puzzles, it takes like an hour to learn the game, and you can at least get a half-decent time. Currently, it's between me and Mr. Mean Mustache, who originally came up with the meme. He's got an 18 something. I don't know the seconds on it. It's like an 8. I believe it's an 1820 something, but I'm not 100% confident on that. But yeah, it's just it's your average meme game for the Game Boy, and you know, as you can see, like solving these puzzles is quite quick. Now, even if 99 feels a little long at first, you can always just go for 10 RMS at first. It's a really easy category to pick up, and within like an hour or so, you can get a really decent time. So it's one of the easier games to learn, I want to say. And even doing it optimally and getting a decent time at the longer categories isn't all that difficult until you really start looking into like the 100% category. This is one of those examples where, you know, if you push it one too far, it's just reset the level. Luckily, it was fairly quick still, so it shouldn't have lost me too much time. This is not good right now. Okay, let's stay calm. I'm not sure if we still have the pace that I was on, but I guess we'll find out. There have been a couple longer puzzles, but also a couple mistakes here and there. At the end of the day, they're all really minor mistakes, but they tend to kind of add up over the course of a run. So, who knows? Maybe if I still play well these last couple of minutes, it won't be all that bad. I remember a while ago, I did a race with Mr. Mean Mustache on a different marathon, and I ended up being 1 second off of world record by the end, so it would be kind of sad if this would be a repeat of that, basically. Uh, 11-11, that's not too shabby, but I don't know if it's going to be good enough. For comparison, the record on, like I said, on 10 RMS is about 128, so you gotta about triple that, and that's the very minimum time that I would have left. But then again, you know, it's easy to mess up a little bit. Even, like, the 10 RMS category is practically perfect. It's really hard to beat time. Even when I tried to break it, because I went down from like a 131 to a 128, because of the randomness in the puzzles, it took me a few hours actually to get it down by just a couple seconds. But so far, we seem to not be getting the longest of the puzzles, so there might still be some chance that we can still pull it off.
Your world record for this category is 16:20?
16:23.
Alright.
So that's the time to beat. Let's see if we can. So yeah, we're about 75% through the run. Being over 12 minutes right here means it's going to be really, really tight. Not to say it's impossible. I think if we get like half-decent RNG, plus, you know, no more major mistakes, then it should be doable, but we'll see. I will say, like, all of these puzzles, be it that they are in random order, you can, to some extent, RNG manipulate it, from what we've heard. We haven't actually looked into it enough to be able to properly do it in a run. But it's said that you can RNG manipulate which puzzles you're going to get. The main issue with that is, you know, even if you can RNG manipulate them, because you're going to be seeing every single puzzle this many times, it doesn't really end up making a difference over the course of a run. Okay, 18 left, about 3 minutes to go. Shouldn't be impossible. We'll see. So yeah, I guess enjoy the last bit of Kwirk. There really isn't much more to it. Generally, like, I'm looking at least to get a sub 17, which is pretty free, honestly, considering there isn't that much that RNG can do to you. And if you don't make make too many major mistakes, sub 17 is very easily doable. That being said, you know, I've made a couple mistakes over the course of the run. I've had to reset a couple of the puzzles, be it that most of the resets were really fast. In the world record run, I believe it was a fairly slow reset. It was at the end of a level somewhere. So, you know, where you reset definitely does end up mattering quite a bit as well. Okay, 12 puzzles left.
I do want to give special attention to the music playing in the background.
Yeah, the music of this game is fantastic. It just keeps on looping too. Like it just adds to the meminess of the run, I suppose. Okay, this might be possible. We've got 10 RMS left, which is basically like the 10 RMS category, which, like I said, is a 128 on a perfect run, which would put us under the world record time. Not by much, but it would put us under. It's still down to which puzzles I'm going to get. If I get the really slow puzzles still, it might become really difficult to actually pull it off. If I get the really fast puzzles, who knows? Okay, really, this was one of the harder looking stages, but you can just move around the block here. No need to worry about it. Now again, the in-game it's the in-game timer that I'll be looking at by the end of the run. We've got a minute to beat it and 5 puzzles left, which should be possible. I think I think this might be world record. Just your casual marathon world record, I guess. Easy every time. Okay, this is somewhat tricky. I'm going to just focus for these last few puzzles, because, you know, messing it up now would be a bit of a shame. And yeah, if you ever want to pick up this game, just send a message, or hell, just start running it to begin with. Last puzzle, it's the longest one in the entire game, so it's a fantastic one to end it on. Like I said, 16:23 is the time to beat. And... time. That's world record by 10 seconds. So yeah, that is world record by 10 seconds. Nice. Despite a couple mistakes, all of the mistakes were early on, so I guess that's all good. Next up, we'll be going for Cornerstone, if I'm not mistaken. So let's give it up for Mr. Tiger. And well, thank you to all of the people from the BSG crew with me on the couch. Thank you for the audience for being amazing, of course, and everybody from ESA Germany. And a special shout out to Mr. Mean Mustache for originally getting me into this game to begin with. It's kind of his meme, and I really hope that he's watching right now. Definitely give that guy a follow as well. So,
and for that, blame M3.
And for that, hashtag blame M3. Let's go. So yeah, thank you guys, and enjoy the last bit of the marathon.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, now I got something to beat. Well, now, since Mr. Dragon 92, that's me, I guess I have to get away from the hosting station right now. So I guess I poke the guy behind me. Could you do hosting? Thanks. So I give it over to Weserwurst for now.